In the quiet moments of my life, I often reflect on the journey that brought me here, to this point of redemption and transformation. In my old age, I never knew that chaos would hurtle into my simple life. It all started when my son married the most horrible woman I have ever met. Her cruelty transcended not just to me, but to my grandsons. I am Gretchen, a 56-year-old woman who has weathered storms of heartache and betrayal. This is the story of love, cruelty, and revenge that took unexpected turns, forever altering the course of our lives. I always wanted the best for my son, Edison, and loved him dearly. After my husband passed away, I took the privilege and struggle of raising my son alone. Even though that life was tough, I still did my best to give him the life he deserved. I raised a man of perseverance, great ambition, and leadership. I have seen from when he was young that he possessed a natural skill in leadership, but I also saw how authoritative he was and how he always disliked being corrected when he made mistakes. I tried to change that, but he was too stubborn to listen. As he was growing up, I was gentle to him, perhaps too gentle. At some point, he started to act disrespectfully towards me. Whenever I asked him to do something, he would react rudely, and whenever we had a slight disagreement, it would always turn into a huge fight, causing an extensive and deep rift in our relationship. However, I tried to be understanding because, after all, he is my son, and he deserves the world. And no matter what happens, I am the only person who can accept him for who he truly is. But the crack in our relationship became even wider when he introduced me to the woman he wanted to marry. I always wanted my son to marry his childhood friend, Vina. I always thought that something was special about the two of them. But fate decided to let my son fall in love with another woman. Her name was Tricia. She was stunning. She looked perfect, but her physical features differed significantly from her personality. When my son introduced the two of us to each other, I immediately felt like something was off. I had a feeling that her kindness was not genuine. It was as if she's only been kind because I was her boyfriend's mother. She was trying to win me over. It didn't take too long for me to confirm my suspicions. After our dinner, I went to the restroom and overheard Tricia talking to her friend on the phone.
I swear to God, girl, I was bored to death. She's kind of old-fashioned and really dull.
She laughed hard. I could even hear her friend's laughter from inside the cubicle.
I mean, it's vintage. She's wearing a dress from the 70s, and don't get me started on how she did her makeup. Honestly, I would not want to be seen with that woman in public again.
She laughed again. My hands started to shake. I didn't do anything wrong to her. I was nothing but kind, and I was ready to welcome her to the family wholeheartedly. I couldn't believe that this woman would soon become a part of my family.
Edison was right about her. She won't shut up about Edison's childhood. Like, as if I'm interested, I wanted to get up and yell at her so she would stop rambling. Older people are like that, you know.
She laughed again. My heart ached so badly, like it was plunged with a spear. I wanted to reveal myself and confront her about her disrespectful remarks, but I was too emotional to do anything about it. Eventually, I chose to keep quiet and remained hidden. I felt like I had to do everything I could to enlighten my son about the kind of woman he was marrying. I tried to talk him out of committing to her, but he wouldn't listen. He even accused me of making up stories and got really upset with me. I didn't know what to do, realizing my own son wouldn't take me seriously. I couldn't help but ask myself, where did I go wrong? Despite my warnings, Edison went ahead with the engagement. They eloped, and they never even asked for my blessings. They told me they were better together and didn't want my presence there since I would ruin it with my negative remarks. Still, I couldn't stand the fact that I wouldn't be there at my son's wedding. A week before their wedding, I approached Tricia, hoping to make amends. I was hoping to have a heart-to-heart conversation with her, but the moment she saw me, she immediately gave me an attitude.
What are you even here for?
I want to talk to you, Tricia.
Oh, you think you can stop us? You are an old poor woman who is just jealous of me. Just accept the fact that your son is now choosing me over you.
I am neither jealous of you, Tricia, nor competing against you. I respect my son's decision, but don't want him to get hurt and manipulated by a woman like you. He deserves all the kindness in the world.
Oh, stop with the lectures. You're just a petty old woman, alone and neglected. You know what? Just get out of here. I don't want to see you again.
She was about to push me away, but I held on to her arms and stopped her. Right at that moment, Edison entered the room, and she immediately acted like she stumbled on the floor.
Ow! Ed, my love, your mother pushed me!
Her voice changed to a pitiful tone. My son immediately ran to her side and looked back at me. He approached me with anger in his eyes, and for the first time in my life, I was actually scared of him. I took a step back, unsure of what to do.
You are a pain in the ass. What is wrong with you? First you're making up stories about Tricia, trying to convince me to leave her, and now you're physically hurting her. Do you want me to push you as well? If only you were not my mother, I would have pushed you in the face.
I couldn't even remember how I got out of that situation because I was deeply terrified. I was so scared for my life. I couldn't recognize my son because he was a completely different person. I was so shocked that I couldn't even say a word. Instead, I just stood there and watched them walk out on me. I had lost a battle I didn't even know I was fighting. So they finally tied the knot. I was uninvited, as if I was not a part of my son's life. Still, they couldn't afford to live elsewhere, so they moved to my place. The early days of their marriage were dreadful. They lived in the house I built, but they still didn't respect me. They even treated me as a maid. Tricia acted like her heart was carved from ice. An unsettling chill was in the air whenever she was around. The tension between me and Tricia was just getting worse and worse. Tricia was vocal in expressing her dislike of having children because she hated babies. But I insisted that they should have kids while they were still young. She didn't waste a moment before insulting me for stating my opinion.
Can you stop making decisions for us, old woman? Know your place. You are nothing to our marriage, so shut the fuck up.
Yes, she would say those words right in front of me. Little by little, I felt like I was invisible in my own home.
Tricia, I was suggesting... No one asks for your opinion. Look at you. You are a ragged old woman who knows nothing about this world.
But months later, Tricia got pregnant, and I could tell it was unplanned. Instead of rejoicing, she ultimately got angry. Tricia went hysterical to the point of getting into a massive fight with my son. She even called the baby in her belly a burden, and my heart broke for them. I was deeply hurt as she tormented the baby right before birth, and throughout her pregnancy, she was being irrational. She even blamed me for her pregnancy, telling me I manifested this unfortunate event on her. How could I even do that? And how would I even call that a tragic event? Having a child is a blessing. But then, despite her issues, she gave birth to my grandson, Luke, who was a source of immeasurable joy to me. But unfortunately, his birth marked the beginning of a painful awakening. Devoid of any maternal warmth, Tricia promptly handed over her responsibilities as a mother to me, leaving me to care for Luke as if he were my own. Edison seldom showed affection or understanding to his flesh and blood because of how much his wife was complaining about the child. In short, they both neglected the kid. They left Luke to me right after the pregnancy. They didn't even assist me financially, so I was forced to labour my old body to make ends meet. Meanwhile, they both travelled the world, acting like childless newlyweds. They were audacious enough to spend all their money on things they could have spent on their child. Despite my age, I embraced the role of caring for Luke with a vigour that belied my years. He was not just my grandson, he was a beacon of light in the otherwise dark landscape of my life. Kind, understanding, and possessing a pearl of wisdom far beyond his age, Luke's simple and humble nature hid a sharp intellect that his parents, blinded by their prejudices, could not see. And after a year, they returned home with the news of Tricia's being pregnant again. This time, she was more accepting of the baby inside her, but right after her pregnancy, they did the same drill. they left the baby to me. Even when Trisha bore a second child, their neglectful approach to parenting didn't waver. They handed me the responsibility of raising their newborn while they continued to live unhindered lives.
Here, don't you like having kids? You suggested we have kids, so there you have it. Your wish is granted. Take care of them. Have fun with that.
After that disheartening statement, they left again, leaving me with a huge responsibility. I was left with a toddler and a newborn. I broke down in tears as I began to question everything. What did I do to be disrespected this way? All I did was to try and be a gentle and loving mother. As the years went by, my health gradually deteriorated under the weight of raising Luke and John, attempting to bridge the ever-widening gap between me and my son. Their disrespect and disdain cut deep, yet I soldiered on, determined to provide Luke and his brother, John, a haven of love and acceptance. For 4 blissful years, our home was a haven of happiness. Luke and his younger brother thrived under my care, and we shared a bond that transcended blood. But that serenity was short-lived. My world crumbled when Edison and Trisha decided they wanted their children back when the kids were already 4 and 3 years old. And as they claimed my grandsons as their own once again, I was cast aside, left to grapple with the hole in my heart. I was utterly neglected. I was able to survive due to my retirement insurance, and I was able to spend my time gardening. But I was lonely. I longed for my grandsons. Until one day, a knock on my door reintroduced me to my grandson Luke. Once filled with innocence, his eyes were now shadowed by pain and determination. He was ragged, sweating, and whimpering in pain internally, and some bruises were evident on his skin. I took him in and tended to his care immediately. I asked him what happened, and he told me everything he had been through. The stories he recounted were heart-wrenching: emotional abuse, torment, and his parents' oppressive pressure on him. They had labelled him as having a low IQ, using it as a pretext to belittle and hurt him. They kept on instilling high expectations, and they kept on telling me that I was not good enough, when in fact I was doing it on purpose. They are so cruel, and I don't want to seek validation. That's why I failed my exams, because for me, it was my only escape. Oh, my dear, your parents didn't know the truth. You are the smartest kid, and I know that because I raised you. I can honestly attest that Luke was brilliant. He was able to do arithmetic at the age of 5 and was able to ace geography at 7. He was a prodigy. So there was no way he was actually dumb. Grandma, I recently went through the computer hardware and I was able to revive my mother's old laptop, and I saw some files. It stated that I was adopted. My eyes widened. I couldn't believe what he just said. What did you say? He handed me a document compiling messages and illegal papers stating that Luke was adopted. He cried in my arms, confused by the truth. I was confused as well. Many things were going on in my mind, which meant that Luke was not my biological grandson. However, my love and care for the child remained prominent, and it knows no bounds. And it all made sense why Trisha never had a motherly warmth towards him. She was so cruel to him, and she had no right to do it because she is not even his biological mother. It pained me to imagine how she abused my grandson, causing wounds and bruises on his body. Don't worry, love. We will do everything to get our revenge. She will never hurt you again. Deep within me, a spark ignited. It was our chance to turn the tables on their cruelty and expose their darkest secrets. Together, Luke and I planned a strategy to unravel the web of deceit they had spun around us. During a gathering that brought my family together, we confronted Edison and Trisha. It was Trisha's birthday, and there was no event more suitable to reveal the truth than her birthday. I went to the centre and plastered the documents in front of everyone. I announced that Trisha had illegally adopted Luke, and I also showed evidence of her hurting and abusing him, pictures of his bruises. The atmosphere grew tense, and Trisha went hysterical.
She shouted names at me, telling me that I was making things up and that Luke was an evil mastermind. Edison, my love, please defend me. Your mother is dragging my innocent name to the ground again. Tell them that it is not valid. She called out to my son with her manipulating voice. But that was when something unexpected happened. Edison stepped forward, but he was not against me this time. He exposed the truth. He told the truth behind Luke's adoption. His true parentage and the intricate tapestry of lies they had woven were bare before us. Edison confessed that he was Luke's biological father and had hidden the truth from Tricia. After Tricia's miscarriage, he told her that he had adopted a baby to replace the unborn one, and it was Luke. The room was filled with gasps. But the most astonishing revelation was yet to come. Luke's biological mother, it turned out, was none other than my son's childhood sweetheart, Vina. Her health was threatened when she gave birth, so then she was rushed to intensive care. She was too weak to take care of Luke, so Edison promised to take care of the baby. But since then, Edison had cut all connections from her, because Tricia didn't even allow Edison to have a phone. He revealed that he was manipulated throughout his relationship with Tricia. He wanted to get out from the start, but Tricia controlled and brainwashed him into being devoted to her, to the point that he had the guts to disrespect and disown me. Edison revealed that Vina was the one he loved, and she was the one that got away. After that confrontation, Edison filed for a divorce and wanted to free himself from Tricia's manipulation. She begged him to stay, but my son's decision was firm. He'd had enough. He took the initiative to look for Vina, and it turned out she was still a bachelorette, and was now healthy. The love that had been lost was rekindled, and a newfound sense of unity began to take root. As they embarked on their journey towards building a life together, I allowed myself to hope for a brighter future where wounds could heal and bridges could be mended. I witnessed the reawakening of a dormant connection, a bond buried beneath years of regret and lost opportunities, and I could truly see the changes in my son's attitude and behaviour. As I sit here now, a tapestry of memories woven with threads of pain and resilience, I am reminded that life's narrative is never set in stone. The revenge I initially sought was one of retribution. Still, it had evolved into something more profound, a journey of redemption, reconciliation, and unearthing the beauty hidden beneath the rubble of broken relationships. Luke's triumphant emergence from the shadows of his parents' oppression, Edison's awakening from his self-imposed shackles, and the emergence of a new, loving family. These were the fruits of our revenge, proving that even in the darkest corners of our lives, hope and transformation can find a way to bloom. Tricia's harsh exterior began to crack, revealing a woman shaped by her struggles and fears. The birth of her second child, whom she had once neglected, seemed to spark a change within her. It was a humbling process watching her confront her demons and rebuild her life from the ground up. As for me, I found solace in the realization that my efforts had not been in vain. The family I had fought so hard to protect had emerged from the shadows of dysfunction and pain. Luke's confidence grew, and his understanding of nature evolved into a strength that he could wield to create positive change in his own life and the lives of others. Once strained and distant, my relationship with Edison began to mend as we navigated the tumultuous waters of forgiveness and reconciliation. The house that had once been a quiet haven for Luke and me now echoed with the laughter of a reunited family. The scars of the past had not disappeared completely, but they had become a part of our shared history, a testament to the trials we had overcome. We learned that revenge need not be bitter or destructive. It could be a catalyst for healing, a force that reshapes lives and paves the way for a brighter future. Like Gretchen, are you willing to fight for the people you love? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and turn on the notification bell for more updates.